all the different characters and character relationships moving forward in Remake are going to be kind of turned on their head because of the playing around with the narrative and the breaking away from fate and the time loops and the cycle of fate, breaking away from that kind of thing. But I think one thing that will remain constant, I just got this feeling, there will be a constant thread with, and they explored it in Dirge of Cerberus, right? The relationship between Sid and the relationship between Yuffie and Vincent, right? I believe that will continue. I believe that will continue because of the groundwork they laid in Intergrade. We know that Yuffie is going to have a deep hatred of Deepground and what they did to Sona and her personal experience with that. I also feel like Vincent will have a subplot with Deepground. Like part of the experimentation that happened to him is a result of what they were kind of doing with Deepground and that kind of thing. And Vincent was kind of maybe the guinea pig for experimenting with chaos and then using that to do some experiments with Deepground. I think there's going to be a through line there. And through that, I think that Sid again. I mean Yuffie. They look nothing alike in my head, not at all. I don't know. Maybe I'm wanting to see Sid with like a shuriken or something. I think I'm doing it because of the Sonnen Sid parallel. Anyway, Yuffie and Vincent. There's going to be, I think that's going to develop a relationship, a personal, like, let's get these guys kind of thing. And through that, I think they're going to develop a really deep bond, a really good friendship. Now, I've never really looked at Yuffie and Vincent like a romantic pairing. I've never done that. And I'm not one of these shippers either, so I don't do that. You know, I look at the story and the narrative for what it is, and I'm not trying to like shoehorn things like that. So I've always looked at them as comrades on an equal level. You know, take away the male and female aspect. They're just comrades on an equal level who've been through this stuff and they relate to each other. And I think, you know, there could be a romance born from that, but taking it at face value, I don't look at it as a romantic thing. I look at it as like a comrades, brother and sister in arms, that kind of thing. So I really am looking forward to, that's the reason I'm looking forward to the Deepground stuff. And everybody's like, Ray, why are you all in on Deepground? They're really kind of trying to really force this in there. I'm like, no, it exists. We know now that it exists. It existed the whole time based on the compilation. And not only that, but it makes sense that it existed. Like, where did they do a lot of the Shinra soldier experimentation? Where did Shinra do a lot of their devious kind of underground stuff? What is Reactor Zero? You know, what is powering the main Shinra facility? All that kind of stuff. It was written later based on notes, I'm sure, but it's not like time travel in Final Fantasy VII, right? It's not like there's like, oh, there's no precedent for Deepground. There's no precedent for time travel in Final Fantasy VII, but there is precedent for Deepground. And I'm really looking forward to how they explore it. And I think Vincent and Yuffie are going to be a big, very, very interesting part of that. I think those are the two characters you need to use while you're getting into the Deepground stuff. Like if you're doing extra missions, exploratory missions, bonus side quests and things like that, I think they need to be Vincent and Yuffie focused if you're going after Deepground installations. Now, of course, the whole party will come with you. The whole party will have things to say, and Cloud will probably have some memories or experiences or something like that. Or Zack, depending on who's in your party, because I do think Zack will be in your party. So depending on who's coming along, who's tagging along, what part of the story it's in when you tackle the side quest, if there are side quests, which I hope there are, I think Vincent and Yuffie need to be the point. They need to be the point. They need to be the ones going after Deepground. Vincent knows where they are. Yuffie's wanting to get them. So I think that's what's going to go on with those two characters and that dynamic moving forward in the story. And not only that, but let's think about the team-up moves, right? The double tech moves, the triple tech moves. Vincent and Yuffie could do a whole lot of cool stuff. Vincent, Yuffie, and Sid, I think, could do a combination of very cool things. You know, Vincent having his abilities and having his like chaos abilities, teleporting, you know, bamfing around and that kind of thing. And Yuffie being the most athletic outside of Cloud. well, she's probably more athletic than Cloud actually, but the most agile, definitely the most agile member of the team, being a ninja. I think you can do a lot of cool stuff with those two characters, and I'm here for it. I really think they're taking their time to get all of this combination stuff right. I think that's what's taken a big part of the time, is they've been dreaming up like ways to make these characters work together in combat combination. The scenario's written. They've got the scenario down, and Deepground is a big part of that. And I hope in that scenario that Vincent and Yuffie are really the primary focus as far as the protagonists go of the story. I really think there's a lot of meat on the bone there, and you could even make your own, like they could make like a Dirge of Cerberus type of game. I wouldn't want it to be like a shooter or anything like that, like a side game, but I don't think they will. I don't want to get too far off into that side trail because I don't think that's going to happen. That's just a random thought that I had. I think they're going to stick with telling the story within the confines of Remake. I do think it's going to be 4 games. I think there's a lot to put in there. I think it's going to be 4 games because Tetsuya Nomura even said he would want to get the games out quicker and just do like a few more like shorter games instead of like 1 or 2 more huge games. So it makes sense. If we get a Remake game every 2 years, that's pretty cool. So, but I mean, it'll be 3 years because it'll be next year. Remake came out in 2020, but it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. I'm excited. I'm here for whatever they show us. It's their story. I just want to be taken on a ride. But I think Vincent and Yuffie, I think that's a powerful combo. Story-wise, gameplay-wise, character-wise. I think there's a lot to explore there, and I hope they explore it fully because you've got nothing but time. This is the last hoorah for Final Fantasy VII. This is it. This is the big bang. And after this, I don't think we get any more Final Fantasy stuff, after 7 stuff. There'll be tie-ins with characters and things, but I think please take your time, explore every story, the nook and cranny of every story without losing focus on the main story. You know, make it optional if people want to do it, and if the people don't want to do it, if they don't want to explore Deepground, they don't have to. But for people like me who want to explore every nook and cranny, please make that an option. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here, but let me know what you think about that. Subscribe to the channel. Helps me out a ton. Throw a like on the video. That helps even more. Tell that algorithm at YouTube that you want to see more of my stuff. And I appreciate the hell out of every one of you all for supporting the channel, supporting me, and supporting the content. And as always, throw a comment in there. Let me know what you think. Have a great day. Be safe. Be good to each other. Keep rocking. I will see you all in the very next video. I want to say a quick thank you to my YouTube and Patreon members and supporters. If you would like to support the future creation of content on this channel, get some few extra perks and some art sent to your door every month, consider becoming a Patreon or YouTube member. Details and links are in the video description.